Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we're going to show you how to make an input field required by a value in the designer. This feature is especially useful from an application flow perspective where you need to enable or disable user transition based on their input. Most input modules in the designer can be made a required field based on the result of a formula in your workbook. This feature can be set from inside the particular input fields in the user interface designer. However, it should be noted that the logic must be tied to a Boolean field from the underlying workbook. Let's take a look at how this works on an example. Here I have a rating tool that contains various input fields. In the underlying workbook, I created an if statement which looks at the quote number field and gives a true result if the value is greater than 10,000 and a false result if it's less than 10,000. I also gave this field a name range which we will be using to govern the required feature. To do this, we need to go to the user interface designer and select the agent field. Then we need to go to the required option. If your underlying workbook has a name range that gives a Boolean value as a result, you will see the option by value of. Selecting this option will create a new input called name range. We can now point this field to our if statement. Since we are technically setting up data validation, we must also set up the validation triggers in a way that validation checks will be made at necessary steps. The options under the validation trigger section correspond to the points in the flow of application events. After change means the check will be made as soon as the control value is changed. For example, entering a valid number and then changing it to something that is not valid can be prevented using this event. Before calculate will trigger validation before any other calculation runs. This includes button clicks or navigation. Before navigate will run the check before page navigation occurs. This includes using the top or side menu as well as button navigation. Before save will check validation only before a save action is triggered. In this example, we can select after change, before navigate, and before save to cover all possible scenarios. Remember to press the submit button to save your changes to this input. Now let's do a preview and see this in action. The if statement we've used dictates that for quote numbers greater than 10,000, we should also enter an agent name. As you can see, now we also need to enter an agent. Doing so will allow users to transition to other pages. Removing the agent name, this becomes a required field again. Thank you for watching.